Hello and welcome back to Pixel Street Videos. Today, me and John here, we're going to talk about a game that stealth dropped this week that was announced during the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct that happened on Wednesday, I think. Is that right? It was on Wednesday.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the first developer direct. It showed some pretty cool stuff. Minecraft Legends and Redfall in particular, I thought looked really good. But we got one surprise announcement, and it ended up releasing that day.
Yeah, so they announced Hi-Fi Rush, which came out on Wednesday afternoon, a little bit after the Developer Direct ended. It's a game by John. This is where you come in, Tango.
Yep, Tango Gameworks. These are the same people that make Evil Within, and they did Ghostwire Tokyo. So those games, as you may know, are horror games. This is not that. Hi-Fi Rush is it's a rhythm action game, is how I would describe it. It we'll go
It's
ahead and
almost
go into
it's
like
almost hack and slashy too.
yeah, it kind of is. There's a little bit of exploration in there. We'll get into that later and all that. But the main point is keeping your beat to the rhythm of the background music. There's different ways for the game to convey visually how that's going. So you have 808 on your side who will like blink when things are happening. The environment also jumps up and down while you're doing it. Yeah, it's usually this is the kind of game that I don't get into. I want to say a few months ago I tried Metal Hellsinger, and that game I was like, oh yeah, this is like Doom, but with all this rock music. Like this looks awesome. I tried it and I fell out of it. That being said, just jumping right into our first impressions here. Hi-Fi Rush, I love it. This game is great. It is so damn charming. I love the art style that it looks just pretty much like a comic book at all times. The
Yeah.
cutscenes, the gameplay transitions are pretty great as well. I love the voice acting. We got Robbie Damon as Chai, the main character, and uh, the CEO, the like big boss. He's voiced by Roger Craig Smith, who does Sonic the Hedgehog, and he did Altair. He did Batman and Arkham Origins. So a lot of talent there. The voice acting is just great across the board. The writing's pretty damn good too. I mean, the story itself isn't anything special, but I've legitimately laughed multiple
Same.
times at this game. So yeah, what are your first thoughts on the game?
So like as you know, I love rhythm-based games. Like at my bachelor party, we played Rock Band for like a whole night until like 2, 3 in the morning. Um, and so like something like this definitely speaks to me because I'm a big fan of games like Jet Set Radio Future and Sunset Overdrive. And this very much has that same like feel all around. Like the art style to the movement, it all feels like I saw a great tweet that was like this feels like a Dreamcast game that got put in a time capsule and not seen again until today. Um, and that's very much how it feels to me. Like it feels like an old type of game that has like new like 2023 features in terms of like the rhythm aspect and like the latency. Um, One of my favorite things is this game is very forgiving. If you're not good at rhythm based games, that's not a problem with this game. You're still going to play the game, you're still going to enjoy it. It doesn't punish you for not being on rhythm. The only thing that it affects is like your score at the end of a level, right? You're not going to fail a boss fight because you're not on rhythm the whole boss fight, which is something that I love about it because there's a lot of rhythm based games that are very much like I don't know how that Hellsinger game is, but is it Hellsinger?
Metal Hellsinger.
Metal Hellsinger. I don't know how that is, but there's a lot of rhythm based games where it's like it literally will not let you advance to the next level or like past a boss if you're not, hitting the buttons at the perfect time when you're supposed to hit
Mhm.
them. But yeah, this game is very forgiving in that sense, and that I think that's one of the things that makes it so popular right now. Like you see everybody posting about it on Twitter, and a lot of people are saying like they're not good at these rhythm based games, but this game is just sticking with them because it's not punishing them for not being on rhythm all the time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about it being forgiving enough. Like it's forgiving enough that it makes you want to keep playing, but it's not too forgiving that it's like too easy to play. It finds a very good happy medium because I've died a few times. I'm just playing on normal difficulty. I was not
Same.
going anywhere above that. On normal difficulty, I feel like it's balanced pretty damn well. I also like that uh, I am at the start of chapter 8, I want to say.
Damn,
Yeah,
you're pretty
I
far.
complete I completed chapter 7 last night. I'm reviewing the game for GamePer, and yeah, there's a very good roster of enemies as well. Like almost every single level introduces at least one new enemy for you to fight. Sometimes it's just like a guy with a barrier that he puts around him. Another one will be a shield that you have to get an ally to break. I even saw like a jaguar, and there's like all these like different guys that do these different things. I'm really impressed by the variety in this game. For a game that was just like stealth drop, this is a lot bigger than I would think it would be. Like when we see something like this, I'm like, okay, this is just like a side project that Tango Gameworks put together. Like this isn't anything like they usually do. Okay, it's just probably like with who did Bleeding Edge? Ninja
Ninja Theory?
Theory. Ninja Theory. That was just kind of a okay, this is a small game, it's nothing really too special. We'll just throw it out there because this was something we wanted to do. I thought that's what this would pretty much end up being. This is a meaty game. Like I expect it to take about 10 or so hours to beat, which isn't long by any means, but the missions themselves, each one is like at least 45 minutes long, and you're constantly just like fighting, and there's all this dialogue and all this stuff. Like this game's got a lot of stuff in it, and that's really impressive for this being such an off the wall project for Tango Gameworks.
Yeah, I think another thing I like is that the environment around you and like each level like it kind of changes, right? Like the environment around you. And the environment is reacting to the music that you're hearing too.
Mhm.
So like everything's on beat from like I don't know, like a staircase you're walking up or a platform you're jumping across or the enemies even like flashing lights on them are to the beat, which like really helps if you want to stay on the beat when
Yeah,
attacking and stuff. Um
yeah,
yeah, I think another thing I really like is the music at the end of each level. I assume I've only beaten 2 levels, but I assume at the end of each level is another like licensed song. Um, like at the very beginning of the game, there's a Black Keys song. There's a Nine Inch Nails song at another boss, and then the second boss is I forget. I've heard the song before. I just don't remember what band it's from. But it's all
mhm.
like rock music that you've probably heard before, and it's all very good. Like I'm super into it.
Yeah. The soundtrack's pretty good. Going back to your like talking about everything else being in beat with you, I like that. I think this game does go a little too far with everything being in beat thing. So, like for example, Chai, the guy you're playing as, if you stand still, he'll sit there and he'll snap his finger to the beat. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But like his running animation is to the beat as well, which you're like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. That makes sense. Like everything he does is to the beat. But man, it also makes him very slow moving. So
Yeah,
when you're not in combat, oh, it can be so annoying to like just walk
I
around an area and
Yeah,
explore.
I keep wanting to sprint and I keep clicking in my
Me
left
too.
thumbstick, but you can't sprint at all.
Yeah, there's
You
no
can
sprint.
you can dash, but it's not the same as sprinting.
That's not really faster. Yeah. Yeah, that is probably the biggest aspect of the game where I'm like, I wish this wasn't to the beat because I'm with you. I want to sprint. Let me move. Like it's just so slow. Um Yeah, but other than that, I mean, combat feels great. That's really the star of the show here. The platforming isn't too amazing. I mean, it's not bad by any means. Like when you jump, it's like an instant up, and then he falls down, which is it feels a little off. But that's not the focus of the game here at all. It's very much get to the next combat area, gather up your gear, and move on with the story.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm only 2 levels in, so I don't really know too much past that point. But I
Mhm.
imagine most of the game is more of similar stuff, just in different set pieces and different bosses, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, no, it's very much the whole entire story is about you're running through the Vanderlei factory and you're taking down all the different bosses, the like heads of production, head of security, head of research and development. And there are some interesting locations. Like I want to say the fourth level is something like you're in a volcano. Like you go way underground and you're like there's lava like popping up out of everywhere, and you have to dodge rocks. So there's some very interesting things. The last boss fight I did last night was very different. Instead of like a full out brawl between the two of you, your characters like just slowly walk around each other, kind of like a standoff.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is when they come at you, you're supposed to either dodge or parry their attacks because he's trying to talk her down. He's not trying to like fight her or hurt her. So there's some very interesting things there. Um, Off of that, though, voice acting, like I said, it's great. The dialogue between all the characters. I'm sure you've met Peppermint already. There's another friend that you'll meet called Macaron, who's pretty cool. His robot friend is called Cinnamon, CNMN. Uh, he's probably my favorite character because he's supposed to be a robot that's about um, he's a psych evaluation robot, and he's also very truthful about everything he says. So he'll like he'll just get on the comms and like talk to Chai and be like, "Hey guys, don't try and confuse Mr. Chai with thinking that he's the brains of the operation." Like he just outright bashes him all the time, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, the characters in this game, the writing, so good.
Yeah, 2 things I wanna talk about is first thing, before we get out of here, first thing is how drastic of a different game this is from Tango, because,
Hmm.
like you said, they're primarily horror games. In this, I don't know if this could be any more opposite of a horror game, right?
Yeah.
From the art style, the cartoon art style to, like, the music, it's just, like, so upbeat. I
Let
love
me
it.
tell you the fucking like whiplash I had when you're going through the opening credits and Shinji Mikami's name comes up as the executive producer. Now, who
Yeah.
knows how much effect he had on this, but that's the creator of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
like that's so weird having his name in a cartoony comic book art style like this. Um,
Yeah. This is yet another example of Xbox holding true to like what they said when they started acquiring studios is like we want them to work on what they want to work on. And like clearly this is something they wanted to work on, right? Like I feel like if they were still independent, Bethesda as a whole, this might not have been something we ever saw. And it could be that like Game Pass is something that helped this game even exist. I know it's definitely helped this game be so popular right now because
that's
everybody I'm
true.
seeing has been playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on was that stealth release factor. 9 out of 10 times when a game stealth releases, it doesn't do well. I would say, like you get that initial excitement, and then it's like, oh, I played it for 2 hours, and
My whole thing
that's
is
kind of all
like
I want to do.
it just doesn't happen anymore. Usually these stealth releases, I all I can remember is them being like really small. You would get like the E3 and it's available now thing, but usually that stuff was like really small DLCs, which is why when this was stealth released, I was like, "Oh, okay, it's just going to be a small game. I'll be done within 5 hours or so." The only other game I can think of that was like a massive hit like this, I would say is Apex Legends because that came out of nowhere.
True.
I can't think of anything else that's just like a big meaty game like this that everyone absolutely enjoys.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the few, right? One of the few.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, this has been our first impressions video of Hi-Fi Rush from is it Tango Studios? Is that
Gameworks.
their name? Gameworks.
Tango Gameworks.
Tango Gameworks. Okay, you learn something new every day. But yeah, if you had told me like 3 months ago, if you had told me last week that the company that made The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo would have made one of my favorite games this year so far, I would have told you you're crazy because
Yeah.
like it's just not something that was on my radar.
There are so many good games set to come out this year that I doubt that this will be in a discussion for game of the year, but it will definitely be up there for like the biggest surprise of the
I
year
think
because
artwork. I think the art style has a chance of
artwork
winning an award for sure.
artwork, yeah. But I'm just like talking about general game of the year. There's too much competition there. Hogwarts Legacy, Breath of, or Tears of the Kingdom, all this other stuff that's coming out. But this is just a straight success story, like right off the bat, which is awesome. Uh, we're just in January here, and we're getting some very good stuff released between this Dead Space. Wasn't there something else that was recently released pretty good as well? There's a lot of good stuff coming out this year, which is exciting.
Hogwarts
Oh,
in a
and
few weeks.
yes, you're right. Um, one of my favorite things about this game, we can get off after this. The evil within main character, I think his name is Sebastian, makes an appearance in this game in like every level as a robot. He's an HR manager, uh, and he like goes around and you can like talk to him, and he's like looking at things and like talking down the company, but it's like very detective kind of talk. He's like he'll like stand at a big oil spot with all these robots around. He's like, ah, look at this, all this horrible stuff that's happening. They'll never learn that it's bad for them and all this stuff. If you ever get a chance, I can't remember what his name is, but definitely look out for that robot. It's pretty cool.
I'll check it out. But yeah, this has been our first impressions video. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Hi-Fi Rush. Have you played it? Are you going to play it? Let us know in the comments. We'll be right back here with more videos in the near future. Bye.
Bye.